Create your pick, interdict specifics about the South Pacific. 60 millionth movie about King Kong decides to work in Icarus too, because this new monsterverse is vast. Bullshit. The plane crashed 4 seconds before this asshole landed right beside the wreckage. Young Hank displays his incredible stormtrooper aim, even though he could literally walk right up to the other currently unarmed pilot and shoot him point blank.
We can look forward to the greatest age in the history of mankind.
Propaganderation.
Mark my words. There'll never be a more screwed up time in Washington.
Har har, but this attempt at a cheap laugh could literally be put into any political era and everyone would knowingly chuckle, hence the cheap part. Hang on, they've been sitting in gridlock in this cab for who knows how long, but they've been right in front of their destination?
Maybe now's not the best time to ask.
Monarch is on the cusp of being shut down, Brooks.
This walk and talk reminds me that this is a conversation they should have had much earlier than now.
Many civilizations spoke of it in legends. Skull Island.
Roll credits.
The land where God did not finish creation.
As you can see from the pictures, it's a ceaseless void where time and space do not exist. You can also see some of God's power tools strewn about.
It's notorious for the number of ships and planes that have gone missing there.
Just out of curiosity, if a landmass has this much of a reputation, why is it just now being discovered?
Landsat is sending a mission to the island. We could piggyback on that operation.
If there's some other government organization already going to the island to explore it, then why the hell would the senator even need Monarch to tag along?
I don't believe I'm saying this, but that almost made sense.
The senator would almost be amazing at CinemaSins. It's sad that there are no songs from the Vietnam era that don't sound like a song from the Vietnam era cliche in movies anymore. In case you confused it with the Da Nang Air Force Base in Des Moines, Iowa. This scene is sponsored by Cases and Cases and a few bottles of Budweiser. And so was this Samuel L. Jackson introduction.
Colonel Packard, there's a phone call for you.
I know you just left your office, but we thought it would be more cinematically pleasing for you to take this call in a phone booth in the rain.
Why do we need a tracker? And why SAS?
Former SAS.
It looks like this movie spent half its budget on rain machines and made sure key scenes took place with them involved, so we couldn't hear the dialogue. Also, considering the amount of expositing they do right before arriving places, I assume these guys travel in total silence until they're less than 100 feet away from their destination. As if on cue, James gets into a fight to show off his survival skills right in front of guys who are going to hire him for that very thing. Foreshadow irony, in case you confused it for Bangkok, Maine.
You're not actually gonna blame the people without guns for losing the war, are you?
Here's one of the main problems with this f***ing movie. It seems like everyone has a manufactured conflict or bond after the first time they meet or are shown, and then it doesn't pay off in any way.
As our satellites show, the island is surrounded by a perpetual storm system, allowing it to remain hidden from the outside world.
It's a lot like that TV show Lost. Anyone remember Lost here? Well, you will.
And accompanied by biologist Miss San.
Biologist is conveniently hot, so that I'll keep watching this. Oh, that's the same chick from The Great Wall. And holy this movie made about the same amount of money in China that movie did. Anyway, this movie's blatant attempt to placate a Chinese audience is totally wasted in this movie. She has a couple of lines and nothing to do.
We'll use explosives to shake the earth and create vibrations, helping us to map the subsurface of the island.
The way Brooks is presenting this plan sounds ludicrous enough that someone should ask him why the f*** you would use explosives to map the island. But the real bullshit is even bullshit, considering Rand and Brooks agree that this is the best strategy to find some prehistoric wildlife, rather than, exploring the island without f***ing bombing.
Once on the island, the storm's interference will block all radio contact with the ship.
Truthfully, I'm just excited to be playing another role besides the motion capture ape this time.
You don't strike me as a war photographer.
Anti-war photographer.
Man, they'll let anyone on this f***ing mission. Why the would a known anti-war photographer be invited to shoot a government-funded military-assisted exploration?
But as field supervisor of the controlling agency, I say we abort. That's it, we're gonna abort.
This asshole wants to abort the entire mission that they planned so intricately, just because the storm looks a little worse than they thought it would.
There is no way I'm getting on that helicopter.
Why do movies even bother with this bullshit anymore? Luckily, Mason Wander stored the helicopter that's meant for hot people only.
As usual, remember, hold on to your butts.
Also, that's the truth, Ruth, and I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger. And I'm here to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative. Gauges, levers, soldiers, excitement. If this is truly
The land where God did not finish creation.
why the hell do they have regular-ass seagulls on this island? Everything else seems to be deadly, except for these regular-ass seagulls. I don't care how many loudspeakers you rig up to this chopper, there's no way anyone's hearing that over all these rotors. God damn these stupid f***ing bombs and their unopposed use in this f***ing movie. Hey, we just found the one island that's been uncharted throughout all of civilization. Now let's immediately bomb the f*** out of it. Cole's not excited about the bombs going off. He's just happy that the director chose him for the obligatory destruction reflecting off sunglasses shot. The pilot, who has basically one job, somehow fails to see this tree flying in slow motion towards them and does nothing to evade it. Would it have killed you to show the guy falling into Kong's mouth? Or was that too gruesome, considering later you have a graphic shot of a guy getting impaled by a spider leg? Helicopters, most of which contain civilians who are now just seeing the large and dangerous prehistoric ape, continue to fly right at the large and dangerous prehistoric ape.
Is that a monkey?
The twist is, it's actually you! Several people survived this.
Run to the side, you idiot!
The guy yelling did not go to the Prometheus school of running away from things, but his partner, guess where he went? So is it a sunset or not? Because most of the shots are in full light, and some are lit like this. Also, why would the sun be shining at all? The island is surrounded by a perpetual storm that no one can penetrate, so it should be cloudy every goddamn day. Movies are art. So did Kong slam this helicopter to explode in a fashion by which the flames would create this symmetrical stare down between Packard and Kong? Probably not. It's just a visual expressing itself in a manner pleasing to our eyes and brains. But I'm sinning it anyway, because I'm a dick who takes things literally, and Packard should be dead. Conrad survived this helicopter crash so easily that he's been cast in the next Suicide Squad movie.
I don't know what that was either.
Well, it's not too hard to tell, right? It's a giant gorilla. I mean, yeah, you haven't seen something like that before, but, I mean, that's what you think it is, right?
We're really not gonna talk about it. You know, this is not normal, right? Stuff like that doesn't just happen.
I don't have much to say about Captain Obvious here, so I'm just gonna insert something into this video real quick.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Ah, yeah, that's the stuff.
Kong, what's wrong with you? How you even got an appetite right now?
I'm going to guess in the script that Jason Mitchell's character was not called Mills, but guy who's always comically yelling at character as of yet undefined. And the dialogue was written in coffee stains.
We just got taken down by a monkey the size of a building.
And apparently he just pieced the f*** out afterwards, even though you guys are being incredibly loud. And that's what he apparently got pissed off about in the first place.
You are going to tell me everything I don't know, or I'm going to blow your head off.
Monsters exist.
No shit.
If I were to find one example to sum up this movie's screenplay, it's this exchange.
Out of 1,000 young men on that ship, I was the only survivor.
Careful, Bill. I hear Elijah Price is looking for a guy like that.
My agency is known as Monarch. We specialize in the hunt for massive unidentified terrestrial organisms.
What exactly did Monarch find that kept the U.S. government funding it for 30 years? If Randa is a crackpot, then there never was any real proof of monsters, and the government decided to keep throwing money at this for no reason. They were giving out wings!
You ever heard the story of the mouse, the lion, and the thorn?
You do know that story is about a mouse becoming friends with the lion after taking the thorn out of his paw, though, right?
No, it's not. The mouse kills the lion with the thorn.
Giant spider somehow went unnoticed until now, even though he's got giant bamboo-like legs. As soon as this guy dies, we hear nothing but... And it's as if this giant spider materialized out of nothing before he started stomping on everybody. Do they need to kill this thing? Just run! All these giant, dangerous, prehistoric creatures appear exactly once a piece in this movie. 62% of this movie is comprised of Samuel L. Jackson's patented vengeance eyes. Mills' head is completely clean here, despite just being gooed right in the face by the giant death bug a few seconds ago. Yeah, but why'd this native give their position away just by opening their eyes? It completely negates the surprise element. And considering they live with Marlowe, who has a gun, they should know that people with guns have an advantage. What was this dickhead doing while all the natives were about to attack? Was he off peeing somewhere when all this started?
You don't want to be out here at night.
Why the hell not? The only time we don't see a surprise attack in this movie is at night.
That wall, is that supposed to keep out that thing?
Well, it did a great job until they discovered the Taute were digging tunnels underneath it, and I was trying to send two movies at once there, and that's what happens. You get two completely different movies mixed up sometimes. Tom Hiddleston is desperately trying to hide his, I just did this bullshit for a large paycheck, but I'm still a respected British actor face here.
The way they tell it, for thousands of years, the people on this island lived in fear.
Man, it sure is lucky that the natives took in Hank and he survived all these years, so that 29 years later, these people could understand the world of Kong better.
And one day, the damnedest thing happened. Some of the things they were afraid of started protecting them against the things that were eating them.
Why? Nobody knows. Seems like a creature like Kong wouldn't care one whit about a bunch of humans getting slayed by giant monsters, but I guess it's all so he can be the good guy.
Wasn't Kong the one who killed your friend?
No, one of them did.
But you'll have to wait until you're in perfect position to view this 3D art before you can tell who one of them is.
They come from the vents, deep down. That's why Kong got so mad. Those bombs woke up a bunch of them.
Seems like the natives, along with their buddy Kong, could have built walls around the vents so that they could contain them, or even sealed the vents. Also, is this an unusual occurrence for them to wake up? If there are such constant threats that the natives built a wall and they killed Hank's friend, then waking them up is a forgivable mistake. Unless they hibernate for a bunch of years or something and they woke up early.
He can handle them as long as he gets to them when they're still small.
Awesome fight sequence is hijacked by unnecessary narration.
You don't want to wake up the big one.
Why isn't he awake now? Apparently these bombs wake up all the lesser giant creatures, but this guy can sleep through it all because he's wearing noise-canceling headphones during his nap.
Kong's the last of his kind, but he's still growing.
Of course he is, because how else would he eventually match up with the much larger Godzilla in the next installation of this universe, but still make this movie somewhat believable?
Me and Gunpei spent 6 years of our lives building this thing.
I really would have loved to have seen more Hank and Gunpei, because their adventure contains the most intrigue. How an American pilot and a Japanese pilot became friends after being enemies, becoming friendly with the natives, learning how to survive on an island full of monsters, and Gunpei's death at the hands of the Skullcrawlers. It's way more interesting than everything we've seen so far. While the guys get to work on fixing the boat, Mason unhelpfully tours the village and takes pictures, and I guess Sans taking a nap or something, since that's what this movie thinks of women's roles. In case you're wondering, yes, this is the second picture-taking montage featuring a cheesing Brie Larson in this movie.
Sometimes an enemy doesn't exist till you go looking for one.
This dialogue is so stupidly pedantic that I'm starting to think the script was written by Yogi Berra.
So we've got 48 hours to make it to the North Shore.
How long could they have been there then? Right before they went out to the boat, Conrad said,
There's a refueling team coming to the north end of the island in 3 days.
But now they're down to 48 hours? This log creature waited a full minute to wake up while Jack sat down on him. This guy survived way too long for this to be the end of him. I mean, in reality, it makes sense that something on the island would randomly kill him like this. But we've been following this dude trying to make his way back in 3 different scenes, like he was going to be a major puzzle piece in the plot. But nope, just feels like they were trying to give Toby Kebbell more face time other than his work as Kong.
I really hope that thing you call a boat can get us upriver in 36 hours, because
You, movie. Even if you're saying 12 hours have passed since they were repairing the boat, they wasted 12 hours! Movie casually introduces an aurora borealis on the island, with no sense of wonder whatsoever.
The most dangerous places are always the most beautiful.
I could keep singing this terrible dialogue line by line, but I don't want to subject you lovely people to listening to it, so I'll just add 10 extra sins to cover the rest of the movie. They just got this f***ing weird boat made of airplane parts to work, and yet the natives instinctively knew to come down here and say goodbye to Hank. And here's another story swept to the side. Packard is a sort of Captain Ahab in this story, but all he's allowed to do, for the most part, is look real angry while his men walk through the jungle, basically unharmed, except one scene involving giant spiders. Also, a few minutes ago, Marlowe was freaking out about not being out at night, but these guys were out in the great wide open with a f***ing fully viewable campfire. Jesus, the creatures on this island have a terrific sense of cinematic pacing.
Yes! We're going home!
The pterodactyls wait until everyone is happy to start attacking. Huh. Well, that could have been worse, I guess. Also, I don't know whether to sin or praise the movie for the most random death in movie history, but I'm more annoyed with how the sun is always shown in that Apocalypse Now position on the horizon during dramatic shots.
But if we reach that position and he's not there, we don't send out a search party. We're back here by nightfall, understood?
Why does everybody have to go look for Chapman? Why can't it just be Conrad, Packard, and maybe 2 other guys? They have to come back here anyway, right?
In 24 hours, we have to be on the other side of this island.
We don't got time for that, man. Put the cigarette out.
Movie inserts stupid cigarette smoking scene so that we know this shit around here is flammable. This skullcrawler vomits Chapman's head and his dog tags only feet away from the people who are looking for him, because the director thinks using your brain is for pussies. Zoom and enhance cliche. Wait a minute, this is 1973, right? They don't invent human eye zoom and enhance abilities until 2047, and even then they're spotty at best. Why doesn't Conrad pull them back right this second? He's seen the skull and the ID, and can literally show both to the Colonel right now. This movie's aggressively stupid. Oh no, I guess. Did we decide whether we were rooting for Randa's character or not? He's kind of an asshole, but he's also a pioneer. Ah well, see you, John.
Set up to 50!
Hang on, there were also regular dinosaurs like Triceratops on the island? Are we sure this isn't actually Isla Nublar? These guys suddenly have flamethrowers that were not part of this movie until just now. Alright, movie gets into some 2D side-scrolling action. It's like I've got my Sega Genesis all over again. Also, luckily these asshole birds have watched a lot of action movies and think you can only attack one at a time. Also, as we can see here, Conrad can see almost nothing out of this mask, but he's been 100% accurate in slicing these creatures with a sword. But the toxic gas is still f***ing there. Gas doesn't just stay in one place, man. It gasses. In this case, toxically. It's amazing during all this commotion, King Kong never comes by to see what's up. He was super upset when they dropped the bombs earlier because of the noise, but now he's like, f*** it.
Not as long as Chapman's still out there.
I'm sorry, Colonel Packard. Chapman is dead.
I waited to tell you this for some reason. My motives are really unclear. Oh well.
If you take away a species' natural competition, they'll proliferate out of control.
Glad we got this insight from the geologist, even though there's a biology expert standing right next to him.
Keep your eyes open. Up in the trees, too. Ants. Big ones.
Yeah, ants. They sound terrifying. Too bad we won't be seeing them in this monster movie, despite being specifically mentioned.
Sounds like a bird, but it's a f***ing ant.
Jesus, John C. Reilly's such a national treasure he belongs in a museum. One sin-off for him being by far the best human thing about this movie.
Make him a special gift out of that napalm.
Does Private McBabyface really need to test the napalm? It will always do napalmy things.
The boat must be around that bend.
Conrad, apparently one of the greatest trackers in the world, can't find his way back to the boat. even though they literally just came from that direction. Well, just came here to get touched by Brie Larson. Achievement unlocked. Peace!
Wait for us till dawn. If we're not back by then, just go.
Movie gives one last middle finger to the concept of time, considering that when they docked here, they had 24 hours to get to the extraction point. Now they've lost almost an entire day and night with this bullshit, but are still somehow on schedule. I know he's big and strong and all, but Kong survives this. I guess Kong just sat there burning, thinking, God damn, this sucks, before deciding finally to walk through the flames and start Konging. Man, I'm sure glad Brie Larson is in this scene. She brings so much to the table here.
Stop!
Simply because Mason says stop, for some reason Packard stops, even though there's absolutely no chance of him changing his mind.
That's the big one.
We were told that the big one would only surface once Kong was dead. So who told him that Kong was dead? Or does he have a heart monitor that tracks him remotely and erroneously flatlined? Even though a severely injured and comatose Kong is right in front of it, the Skullcrawler's only impediment to ruling this entire island, this asshole is more interested in warming up its pipes. Kong magically wakes up in time not to be killed by his archenemy.
Die, you motherfucker.
This movie will remain PG-13, goddammit.
This is the edge of the island.
So it's time for the vertigo effect for some reason.
Go live your life.
Movie seriously thinks it can wring an emotional human moment out of this puppet show. These things have been going for the jugular the whole movie, but this one instinctively knows when someone's trying to sacrifice himself with grenades, so he does the old tail swipe attack. I'd give the movie points for playing on audience expectations, but I'm way too pissed at this movie to give it credit. Kong grabs a tree as a weapon, but after slamming the Skullcrawler's head into the rocks a few minutes ago, what good does he think a tree is going to do? And the answer is nothing. Oh yeah, it looked like it hurt, but it was f***ing worthless. It had one use, and it's done. Now what? Jeez, how many Ex Machinas are in this movie? Maybe 5? I'll give it 5 sins for all the Ex Machinas. Okay, so why does the Skullcrawler care so much about the humans anyway? The bullets do him no harm, and he's got the one motherfucker he's been waiting to kill wrapped in chains, ready to be destroyed. But no, this shithead has to leave his life's work to kill some easy targets. Not only does this non-military photographer have perfect aim to hit a moving target with a goddamn flare gun, this actually distracts this dipshit from advancing on the hapless boat. Why the fuck is it chasing after Conrad? The shooty thing is over there. Kong guesses correctly where Mason fell in this murky-ass water and is able to grab her out just in time. Villain is dead, but comes back for one more attack cliche. But they still have no time to get to the extraction point, right? Right? Motherfucker! Jesus, how many fucking cameras did they take to film this reunion? And Jesus, how staged is this? The camera operator gets a shot of Hank walking inside his own house, and they have all the reaction shots in real time? Nice moment, but f*** off.
Is this fun for you?
I guess this end credit scene is going to be about Loki's scepter or some shit. They killed Nick Fury in this movie, so I don't know who's supposed to give the Avengers their next assignment.
Kong is not the only king.
But mainly it's Godzilla. That's the one people care about.
Well, Billy Mitchell always has a plan.
You mother...
Is everything okay?
Hey man, as far as I know, the motherfucker's tip top.
The refuel team will meet us here on the north end of the island. That may be our only safe departure window for an unknown period of time.
Sound good?
Wear helmets when you ride your bikes, you have seat belts in your cars, you have alarm systems to protect your homes. But what do you do when those alarms go off? Crazy is building your ark after the flood has already come.
Aurora Borealis. At this time of year, at this time of day, in this part of the country, localized entirely within your kitchen.
Hey, this is Fox 5, we hear you. Yeah, we're on a boat. We're on a boat headed up north on a river.
A boat?
I'm on a boat! I'm on a boat! Take a good hard look at the motherfucking boat!
We're going to pull together and we're going to find a way to get out of here. First, we're going to seal off this...
This is the end.
We will be the first to break through to the other side.
Break on to the other side!
But the United States Army is not an irresponsible father. So they gave us wings of white, hot, old rolled
Pennsylvania Steel. When you absolutely, positively got to kill every motherfucker in the room, except no substitute.